So yeah, I guess we can just get right to the meditation. Meditation is a way to clear your mind. This is the way to think about it. Our minds are always racing, so we always have stuff on our mind, and the only way to clear it all out is meditation. Is to meditate on it, and you think about nothing. That's the secret to meditation. You have to think about nothing, and the way that you think about nothing is just that. You literally think about nothing, and because it's impossible without lots of practice, you will always have a thought come, and while you're sitting there and you're thinking about nothing, you're trying to meditate on nothing, it will be like driving down a road, and the thought will arise, and you have to think about the thought objectively. You have to think about that thought that is coming into your mind. You have to think about it from a third perspective, from an objective perspective. And you think about driving down a road, and that thought is coming, and the thought says, I need to get some nappies from the store because we're almost out. And I think, oh, should I go do that right now, or should I wait until later? Whatever. But instead of thinking about that thought and trying to make a decision on it, you see the thought as a sign passing on the road, and then you let it go. So the thought comes into your mind of what I'm supposed to do, whatever task it is, whatever I have to call, whatever I bill, whatever it is, you think about it and you just let it pass. So then I'm thinking about nothing again. Literally thinking about nothing. As soon as the thought comes, I just let it go. So then I'm meditating on nothing. That's meditation. The other part of meditation is the jaw. The jaw is so stressful. We have lots of stress and lots of muscles in our jaw. And when we tighten our teeth together, our tongue, it causes more stress and more tension in our body. Our body causes us stress. When I was diagnosed with traumatic brain injury, I had to do this thing called biofeedback with a counselor, a nurse, practitioner, and basically it's called biofeedback, and it's where they hook all these sensors up to your face and to your chest and I think to your hands, and they teach you how to lower the stress in your face, because as soon as you move something, it can send a signal to the computer. It's called biofeedback, and it shows you where your stress is. So not only is our mind the source of stress, but our body is also a source of stress for us, and tension. So when you're meditating, the key is to think about nothing. That's one type of meditation, to think about nothing, and then to relax your mind, to relax your body. And you do that by just thinking about your body for a second. You have to think about this to relax it. And at the very beginning, you think about your toes and your feet and just all the tension getting released. And your arms and your shoulders, you can just sort of try to just think about everything just relaxing. You have to think about it. And your jaw, and you open your jaw just a little bit, like just open your mouth just a little bit so that it's not clenched, and maybe put your tongue through your mouth. Just like just like a little bit, just so you know that it's not closed, it's not tight. And you just think about nothing. Maybe you focus on a spot. You can close your eyes. If you close them all the way, it sort of triggers the imagination more. So I think sometimes it's better to leave them open just a little bit, or as much as you like, and focus on a spot. And just leave your attention on that spot so that your eyes aren't wandering or making you desire to think about something else. So you just sit there, think about everything, relaxing, and then just think about nothing. Try it for 5 minutes. Just try to think about nothing and see what it does for you. I think that I'm about to do it like way more often, but if you think about nothing, then even now I'm thinking about, okay, should I cut this out of the video, or should I just, because I don't want to waste time on cutting or editing videos, do I just include the whole thing? Or do I reshoot and shoot it again to explain better? I don't know, it doesn't matter. Who cares? Just do it, right? So think about nothing. Take a deep breath. And just think about nothing. Think about my breath going in and out. That's something to think about, to clear the mind of all other thoughts, all desires, all worries, all anxieties. Clear the mind of everything. Just think about my breath. Going into my body and out of my body. My hands are relaxed, my arms are relaxed, my shoulders relaxed, my mouth is not clenched, my jaw is open. I'm thinking about nothing. Total emptiness. Now here's the secret that Buddha figured out, and Jesus, and all the prophets and all the messengers took it further. And that is compassion towards others. And if we meditate, if we meditate on kindness and compassion towards others, if that's the object of our meditation, so instead of a meditation about nothing, which is a great way to clear the mind of worry and anxiety, just knowing that everything's going to be okay. We do this in prayer too, when we just say, okay, God, thank you for everything you gave me, Lord, and I know that as long as I have you, no matter what happens, everything is going to be okay. And that weight of letting everything off of yourself and putting it somewhere else, that meditation, that thinking, that visualization of everything that I'm carrying with me now, all this weight and worry and anxiety, I can just say, God, please just take it so I don't worry anymore. And in that visualization of everything just leaving and going on to God for Him to carry, it's very relaxing. Meditation, prayer, it is like one of the greatest tools we've ever had in the history of the universe. And I think my whole life, my biggest problem was that I was not focused on it like I should be, on prayer or meditation. But but it's really the source of all healing. And like, the mind is so powerful. We have the ability in our mind to think about anything, to imagine. And if we're always thinking about this world and the stresses that we have in front of us, and we never reflect on ourselves or on how to be kind and compassionate towards others, then I think most people, depending on where you live, most people are already already pretty nice towards others. The majority of people don't. Everyone's living in a bubble, so we don't even think about these things, because everyone has their own problems and their own worries in life. To think about other people's worries or stresses or whatever, like, of course, with our own friends or anything that is presented in front of us, everyone handles differently. And the more ability we have to remain calm is like golden. And coming from me, that's a pretty bold statement to say. But there's an exception to every rule, because at some point it's all meaningless, and Buddhism absolutely fails, for sure, because Buddhism is about non-attachment. And if I'm non-attached to my wife, I'm gonna lose her. If I practice non-attachment to my spouse, I'm gonna lose her. And so Buddhism is like great for single people, but for married people, it's still very great. That depends on our understanding about it and what it means. Because if Buddhism is about practicing non-attachment, then and I practice non-attachment with my wife and say, oh no, I don't need to worry if she's stressed or worried about something. I just say, oh, it's just a thought, and then put it away. Then I'm gonna suffer big time if I don't. It's same thing with my with anything. If you think about all of your real world things, like real world problems and issues, and you practice non-attachment with them and just let them go as a thought, then it's gonna hurt you in the real world. And so that was something that I learned about Buddhism and about meditation and practicing non-attachment, is that you have to be attached to the real world if you don't want to suffer. To some extent, that's the exception to it. So it's like meditation on kindness and compassion is different. So if I'm meditating on kindness and compassion, then my wife says she has any problem, immediately my focus will be on kindness and compassion. How do I make her happy? And it's not about making her happy. Of course she has to find happiness on herself. It's not about that. It's about, if I'm doing something wrong to hurt someone else and I don't realize it because of my own ignorance, and they express it to me, and in that being kind and compassion, then I can understand. And coming from me, there is an exception to every rule, because the thing about these things, the thing about this nature of meditation and spiritual practice is, if you don't do it, you lose it. If you forget about it, if you just don't practice it, you don't think about it, you lose it, it's gone. And then you cause other people to suffer, and you're going to suffer more. So in any single 24 hours in any day, we have the ability to remember everything that we've been taught, or we have the ability to let it all go and let all rules fly out the window, which causes us to suffer more. So maybe I knew these truths already for 7 years. Maybe I knew where suffering came from, but then I just stopped thinking about it. Just forget about it, and then just live my life like the robot that I am, where I just think about all the real world things, all all the things going on in my life and my own suffering of problems with my family, or deep pain from the loss of loved ones. You know, suffering is a double-edged sword, because the more we suffer, the more that we do things which will cause us to suffer more. That's the thing about suffering, is unless we can transcend suffering and find the cause of our suffering, for every moment that we suffer, it will cause us to react in a way which causes us to suffer more. Right? That's the thing about suffering, is I'm in pain for something, for the loss of a loved one. If I'm in pain for that, and then I do something which is more destructive, such as drinking too much, or having too much desire for something, just to ease the suffering, then it will cause me to suffer more. Desire is good. Desire built the world, but if we use desire as a tool to escape our suffering, it will cause us to suffer more. The thing about the world, what we're seeing, is no one knows these truths. No one knows that this is the cause of suffering. No one knows that everyone just kind of sort of living as their parents. We are the people around us. So, like, basically, we are our parents combined, and we are every song and every show and every movie and every single experience we are and have ever had. Our memory is what makes us who we are. Every single moment has the ability to change who we are